There are 6 areas that comes to my mind that the digital banks will be creating an impact in the country clearly. The first and foremost is the financial inclusion. The second one is digital payments, the overall growth that the banks will catalyze. The third one is the innovation, and particularly in the small and medium enterprises and the entrepreneurship that the digital banks will add a lot of value to. The fourth element is, you know, digital banking, as much as has been around in Pakistan for almost 10 years now, but with 22 million digital banking users versus close to 100 million individuals in the banking fold, is still far lesser than we anticipated. So the trust and confidence is the fourth element that I believe, because of digital banks, will increase in the digital banking space. The fifth element is the innovation that the digital banks will drive in the cutting edge technology that we, particularly artificial intelligence, robotics, quantum computing, those are the topics that are discussed globally. Digital banks have the opportunity to drive innovation, making use of these technologies because of our agility, nimbleness. The sixth one, which is very close to my heart, is the government's initiative of cashless economy. I genuinely believe that digital banks have the biggest opportunity to support government's cashless economy initiative. Today we clearly see that the Islamic banking institutions are growing 2 to 3 times higher than our traditional banks. If we look at the assets and deposits, we clearly see that the growth in assets is close to 24% versus 17% in the traditional banks. Similarly, the growth in deposits is close to 22% versus the 14% probably in the traditional banking. So clearly, the landscape is set, proven, and ripe for Islamic banking growth and scale in the country today. We also understand the eventuality that by the end of 2027, starting 2028, the entire banking industry has to transform itself into pure Islamic banking offering. The opportunity that I see in the country, people want to do Islamic banking only. However, their access to Islamic banking is limited. The other challenge is that there is a segment of the society, which is women. According to World Bank data, 5.3% of population of women in Pakistan is financially included today. And the included population is 13% of the banking account holders. Clearly, not just the mass market, but the underserved, underprivileged segment, which is women, are missing, despite of all the good things that are happening in the banking industry. So we genuinely believe that there is this opportunity of offering Islamic banking pure, at scale, and to underserved segments as well. I was looking at State Bank's data, and if remember correctly, there were 200 e-commerce merchants in 2016 in Pakistan. The latest data shows close to 10,000 online merchants today. And if I look at my personal experience as a customer, where I see merchants on Instagram, merchants on OLX, merchants on Facebook Marketplace, I clearly know that they are much more than thousands, maybe hundreds and thousands, or maybe in millions today. However, the businesses, micro, small, medium, large, continues to struggle to integrate themselves into the value chain, particularly financial institutions. And because this is not their primary concern, they continue to operate in whatever cash-based ecosystem or a third party managing their payments or banking. And that's the gap banking as a whole must fill. What we have seen globally is that the digital banks were the first one to appreciate data beyond banking. And this data is something that has huge value in assessing if a customer is creditworthy or not. And this also has a link to micro credit or nano lending, which, if done right, we can service masses by offering them credit for them to, if at an individual level, take care of their personal needs, or at a business level to help them grow in their businesses. So this consumer lending is something that digital banks, because we have the opportunity, we are natively built on data and artificial intelligence platforms, leveraging which and using the other data sources from financial services industry, for example, your credit history, we can clearly extend the current struggling consumer banking in the country. I understand the traditional banks have their own experiences, but here the opportunity is far bigger and much broader based on what and how we understand the customers today. There are quite a few challenges that I see for digital banks in Pakistan. The first and foremost challenge is the risk of fraud and cybersecurity. What we have seen that in technical terms, digital banking is more safe than the traditional banking setup that we have. However, what has happened with the frauds, especially because of social re-engineering, there is lack of trust on digital banking. People tend to do smaller payment value. The internet banking average payment transaction value is 45,000. Mobile banking average payment transaction value is close to 22,000. And the paper-based check or pay order is 850,000 rupees. Clearly, people want to do digital banking, but they don't trust. So that's one challenge that we face. The second challenge that I see is the use of cash. As much as 89% of the transaction out of 6.2 billion are digital, 83% of value is still of paper-based transactions. Giving examples of international markets where the paper-based economy, when converted into digital banking-based economy, resulted in 3 to 4% of GDP increment. Okay. There are real-life case studies where businesses were evading tax. However, when they saw the ecosystem getting used to digital banking, digital transaction, they started becoming part of the ecosystem. But then they also saw that they were able to scale their business such that the tax that they were avoiding became immaterial in the bigger scheme of things. People started setting up franchises, scaling their business domestically and then internationally. And they realized that the cash and tax avoidance that they were thinking was eating up their business had actually started helping them with international standards, compliances, and scaling their businesses. This is exactly what is going to happen in Pakistan. But today it is a challenge, but I look at this as an opportunity. Today, the conversion of cash to digital only happens at branch counter. We actually convert digital to cash when people withdraw cash from ATM. But if I want to convert cash or check to digital, I have to go to bank branch. So I urge the banking industry to come together and fight the cash for it to become digital and contribute to the bigger cashless economy by making branch counter interoperable. And having said that, it should be for a higher transaction value. The smaller transaction should be penalized and discouraged in such a way that people are bound to move to digital channels.